I know I pissed a lot of people off, including you. But this is a full circle moment, everybody.
Yes.
Get into adult conversation.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Okay, because I haven't seen you in over 15 years, but I'm not seeing wrinkles. I'm seeing good. I don't, you live a really hectic lifestyle, and I don't understand all the running around. And who are these people that you surround yourself with? And who are these people? Do they violate you? Do you get robbed? What happens? Now you threw a house party, and I got the footage. Okay. Look at this. Now, who has this many people at their house? Puff, or Sean, Diddy, Doody, what do I call you?
I think you should call me Puff. You always call me Puff.
I do.
Yes.
Okay. First hurdle jumped. Jesus.
I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous to come out here.
People like Wendy Williams coming out, making comments about him. I guess that there's a history there. I didn't know that Wendy Williams had been pushed out of her radio job many years ago after she suggested that there was an incident between them from a 2017 appearance he made on her show that people are circulating now saying this is very awkward. He's bringing up her, I think at the time, 16-year-old son?
Mother of a now 16-year-old.
Who I met backstage,
He did?
He's a great young man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. You represent a...
Regarding alarming allegations regarding Hollywood's shadowy side, Wendy Williams has never been one to keep back. She has dedicated her professional life to revealing the secrets of the entire industry. But what happens when the focus turns to her own family? Well, get ready, because we're going to examine one of the most terrifying tales that ties together Wendy's claims, her teenage son, and some of the most unsettling accusations regarding Diddy. Fans have recently begun to piece together the specifics of an encounter between Diddy and Wendy's son Kevin Jr. when he was just 16 years old.
Mother of a now 16-year-old.
Who I met backstage,
He did?
He's a great young man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You represent a lot.
This wasn't just a harmless incident, according to others. It was a part of a far deeper tale. Given Wendy's track record of denouncing Diddy's purported actions, the timing of these allegations is hardly coincidental. Without further ado, let's get into the specifics. Diddy is already facing a barrage of accusations and disturbing behavior at his parties, and these warnings that have been coming a lot closer to home.
The first woman to uncover the homo thugs. That's what these down low bitches was called when Wendy first started talking about it in the 90s, the homo thug. She talking about Diddy.
Whether on her radio program or her well-known music videos, Wendy Williams has long been renowned for her bold style. Talk show over the years, Sean Diddy's CMS has been one of Wendy's main targets, demonstrating her willingness to speak up against even the biggest names in the business. Wendy's allegations against Diddy date back to her radio career in the late 1990s and early 2000s. In her 2004 book, The Wendy Williams Experience, Wendy talked about how she believed Diddy had attempted to destroy her career by threatening her and trying to have her fired for speculating about his personal life and business practices. In a 2013 interview, Wendy continued to criticize Diddy, claiming that her termination from a radio position was largely due to her remarks about a prominent hip-hop figure at the time. Wendy also recounted how the girl group Total, who was signed to Diddy's Bad Boy Records, attempted to physically confront her outside of her workplace. Wendy had come to represent the cost of speaking unpopular opinions, but she resisted the backlash, telling her audience that the real world is frequently far worse than what occurs behind the scenes in Hollywood. However, Diddy has taken notice of more than just Wendy. Her son Kevin Jr. has been dragged into the storm the internet, lit up after fans revisited an old clip of Diddy on The Wendy Williams Show. During the exchange, Diddy mentioned meeting Wendy's then 16-year-old son backstage, praising him as a great young man, While this might have seemed like an innocent moment on the surface, Wendy's reaction raised eyebrows. She thanked Diddy but appeared to falter in her response. Fans began saying that there was more to this interaction, especially in light of the recent allegations against Diddy involving inappropriate behavior towards young kids. Some people even suggested that Wendy's reaction was at her awareness of something darker potentially connected to her long history of exposing Diddy's alleged misconduct. The theories became even more disturbing when details surfaced about Diddy's alleged efforts to control or influence Kevin Jr. People claimed that this could have been part of a scheme to get back at Wendy for her years of public criticism. Whether these claims hold weight or not, the timing of Diddy's praise for Kevin Jr. and the resurfacing of Wendy's warnings about him has been a major concern. And just when we thought Diddy's controversies couldn't get darker, new allegations paint an even more disturbing picture. Over the past few months, Diddy has faced a deluge of lawsuits and accusations, many of which allege he used his wealth and power to exploit people in different ways. Reports of wild parties involving substance use and disturbing behavior have surfaced. Lawyers for dozens of alleged victims say Diddy used threats and manipulation to hide his misconduct. The most shocking claims involve allegations of attendees using drugs like horse tranquilizers and involving minors. These accusations have prompted federal investigations, with prosecutors claiming to have evidence linking Diddy to illegal activities like forced labor and obstruction of justice. In light of these new revelations, Wendy's history of criticizing Diddy feels foreboding. She talked about the entertainment industry for many years, explaining how some moguls use their power to dominate people's lives and stifle critics. Now Diddy is being sued on several counts. Wendy's cautions are now even more urgent.
He had somehow shown people that email. You hear me? He's shown people that email. Puff told Hot 97 if they didn't get rid of her, you understand, before he got back in New York, that they was not going to get any music from any of his friends, any of the record labels executives that was cool with him. Everybody was going to boycott their station. We was out in LA for about 3 days before we landed back in New York. Wendy Williams was in the radio station in Philly. It was over for her. She was fired.
While the world seems shocked by the flood of allegations against Diddy, Wendy Williams' response is almost there. Shrugging and being aware, as I mentioned before, in a recent interview, Wendy considered the most recent inquiries into Diddy and said that they were long overdue, citing what her friends and relatives had informed her. Wendy, you called it her tone, wasn't just one of vindication, but also of frustration. She had warned the viewers about the dark side of Hollywood for years, but her insights were often dismissed or met with backlash. Wendy didn't hold back when speaking out against the music industry's culture of power and control. She highlighted how this setting allows individuals like Diddy to act without consequence. In her opinion, these accusations weren't sudden. Rather, they were the product of years of unbridled power and whispered accusations that eventually came to light. Wendy also highlighted how many people are complicit in this poisonous culture, either by active involvement or silence. It's particularly unsettling how Wendy's earlier cautions line up with these new findings. Her references to an era of hip-hop and the behind-the-scenes exploitation resonates strongly now. She described a system where people like Diddy could manipulate people around them using money and influence to control and silence other folks. For Wendy, the investigation into Diddy isn't just a legal matter, it's a reckoning. An industry that's been dodging accountability for far too long. Her history of exposing Diddy isn't new. It's a pattern that dates back decades. On her radio show, Wendy Williams' frequent allusions to Diddy's alleged wrongdoing suggested that there was more to his public persona than first appeared, and these were not unfounded rumors. Wendy shared stories that painted a picture of a man who thrived on control and intimidation, One incident involved the girl group Total signed to Diddy's Bad Boy Records. Wendy claims that, reportedly at Diddy's direction, the group attempted to ambush her outside of her place of employment. It made me uneasy when Wendy talked about their financial difficulties and her conjectures regarding Diddy's influence on their success. This drama wasn't merely there to boost the numbers. Wendy said that Diddy utilized it as part of a culture of vengeance to safeguard his reputation. Her interviews with industry insiders also added fuel to the fire when former Bad Boy rapper Mark Curry appeared on her show to discuss his book, Dancing with the Devil: How Puff Burns the Bad Boys of Hip-Hop. Wendy didn't shy away from letting him share the darker details. Curry described Diddy as a man with a shadow of things following him, a cryptic statement that Wendy seemed to agree with. Similarly, her interview with Karen Superhead Stefan shed light on alleged inappropriate behavior at Diddy's parties. Stefan claimed these events often blurred lines with both men and women drawn into questionable situations. Wendy's willingness to ask hard questions and let Stefan speak freely only reinforced her reputation as someone unafraid to call out power.
The person who I mentioned earlier, who has talked about Diddy a lot throughout their career, is Wendy Williams. After Cassie and Diddy had a split in 2015, which I covered in my previous video, Wendy Williams went on her show and talked about it, saying some interesting things about the situation. She was covering Diddy cheating on Cassie going to South Africa to avoid Diddy and to shoot a movie, but Wendy actually spoke on Diddy being able to pop up on Cassie whenever he wants to, which in retrospect is kind of scary.
Was Diddy seeking retribution for his purported obsession with Kevin Jr.? Conspire to harm Wendy? Many fans think so, and there is a lot of conjecture in internet debates regarding Diddy's reference to Kevin during his visit to the Wendy Williams show. When you take into account Diddy's alleged history of manipulative and vindictive behavior, these theories become even more plausible. One fan commented that she was taken aback right away and wondered what the conversation between the predator and her son was. Another wrote that she thought that was a normal reaction of a protective mother and that anyone should be terrified to know he had been around their child without the parent. Given the claims that Diddy targeted Kevin Jr., and Wendy herself stated that he attempted to destroy her career when she spoke out against him, it is easy to see this as part of a pattern of reprisals. Diddy's power and intimidation skills extend beyond Wendy. If these allegations against Kevin Jr. are accurate, it could have been Diddy's way of warning Wendy and exacting revenge for her decades of criticism. The overlap between Wendy's prior warnings and her personal experiences, as well as these new accusations, paints a different picture of a man who uses his power to maintain control, whether through threats of financial exploitation or outright manipulation. Since the accusations against Diddy keep mounting and lawsuits and investigations are gathering steam, it implies that Wendy's struggles against industry titans like Diddy were never just about her. Rather, they were a part of a larger struggle against a culture of control. Since the courts take these allegations seriously and Diddy's legal and social ramifications are still far from resolved, there may be a significant change in how the business treats those who are accused of wrongdoing. The possibility of more victims and tales coming to light is even more intriguing. High-profile incidents like this frequently inspire others to speak up after years of terror. Numerous unreported tales involving musicians, their staff, and even intimate partners may exist due to Diddy's influence in the music business. The volume of claims, according to associate legal experts, may result in a historic case for Wendy Williams. This feels like support for her decades-long fight against the darker sides of Hollywood, and her willingness to bring attention to these issues may encourage others to speak up as well. However, what do you think? Do you think Wendy's claims about him were true? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and enable notifications so you can watch the next video.